Wine Steward is a Belmont contender who we saw at 2 years old and made quite an impression. Won three straight and had a gut-wrenching second in the Breeders' Futurity. Uh, this is a horse who showed a lot of quality at two and a lot of precocity, and we just didn't see him on the Derby Trail until the Lexington, and there were some issues. But now he's poised. This is his third start off the layoff for the Belmont. He's owned by Paradise Farms, trained by Mike Maker, and Luis Saez is the jockey. You take a look at the pedigree, and we'll see he's by Vino Rosso, who is in the Curlin line, so shouldn't be any problem with stamina there. Call to Service is by To Honor and Serve, another good stamina type of sire. So I don't think the distance is going to be an issue. In particular, if you look at Call to Service, the Conduit Mare profile, you do see it's heavily skewed towards stamina. So I think 1.25 miles will be fine for the Wine Steward. So I'm not worried about that. We take a look at Vino Rosso. He is a fairly new sire, so the Wine Steward is his top earner so far. And you see, we've seen Wine Me Up out west under Bob Baffert's care, who's been kind of a average to mediocre 3-year-old, I would say. Dancing Groom, kind of the same thing. Next Level, these are all horses we saw on the Derby Trail at one time or another. Tuscan Sky. But one thing is kind of interesting with a lot of them is they have been kind of flaming out as they progressed as a 3-year-old. So maybe that's something that we want to think about. I'm not saying that's the case with the Wine Steward, but we haven't seen a lot of these take another step forward, is all I'm saying. So just a little something to think about when we consider the Wine Steward. You see, he's the only foal by Call to Service, so there's not a lot we can glean from that. But one thing we can say that I've always liked about the Wine Steward is this horse likes to fight. And you see a record of 6 starts, never been any worse than second. So this is a horse with a lot of grit. And being a Vino Rosso, of course, we know that he got better as he got older, culminating with the Breeders' Cup Classic win. So as time goes on, there is the potential for the Wine Steward to progress. We look at the Equibase. One thing that is a little on the troubling side is that you see 3 straight seconds. Starting with the Breeders' Futurity, which any of those races, I wouldn't say the Wine Steward ran poorly in any one of them. I thought he ran fine. Just couldn't quite get over the top, and that has to be the primary concern right now. And we've sort of had it with this horse all along, is that he always brings his A game. He's very consistent like that, but there always, there just seems to be somebody a little better. And that is something that we have to think about when we evaluate the Wine Steward. Now, we're going to take a look at the Peter Pan and to see his latest effort, and maybe that'll visually demonstrate what we're talking about here. So let's have a look at the Peter Pan Stakes, and the Wine Steward is in the 3-hole.
Goes in. All set for the Peter Pan.
And you see it was a depleted field due to scratches, so you only had 6 in this one.
And they're off.
But gets away fine.
Insight, but did break quickly, and Unique Insight right to the
hustled
front
up to a rate just behind Insight.
Antiquarian is well settled just off of them in third, 3 wide.
You see Antiquarian just to his right there.
Ground is in the 4th position. Then comes Native Land, and Deterministic is the early trailer, just a touch rank. Now
no excuses to be had at this point. He's in perfect stalking position,
as the lead will take him to the
then
back
it's just a
stretch,
question
23
of
and 4. The
whether
he's
good enough at this
right
point.
Right there is the Wine Steward and perfect stalking range. Now within
Pace
a half
was
length of
moderate,
the lead.
I'd say.
Antiquarian is 3 wide and Protective gets a nice journey in 4th. Is only 2.5 off the leaders. Native Land continues to track from 5th, and Deterministic at the back end of the field, 5 lengths at the back. They're chasing Unique Insight at 6-1. 47-4, the half-mile time.
47-4, again,
right
moderate,
there for Luis
I'd say.
Saez, ready to pounce in the two-path.
So he's
Antiquarian
got
is also
everything
engaged from
that
third.
the Wine Steward would want for a
Continues to
good
save
race.
ground
He's
towards
just
the
off
inside
a
as they
leader
work
who's
into the
setting
far
moderate
turn now from
fractions.
the back. Native Land is
Should
trying to
have
pick
plenty
it
in
up,
the tank, and you see he's making his
Deterministic has
move.
trailed throughout. And now here
But he's
comes
got
the
company.
run
He
from
got
the Wine Steward
Antiquarian
is
and
ready to
even
challenge
Protective.
Unique Insight. Antiquarian is encouraged to move forward here from third. Protective is right there in fourth, in behind these leaders.
At this
as they
point,
approach the top
if
of the
he's good
stretch.
enough, it's his race to win.
Native Land, they've
Let's
got
see
to
what he
pick it up
does.
from the back, and the Wine Steward's got the lead. The seam opens up for Protective, and now it just closes.
Changes
The Wine
leads.
Steward Unique Insight still there. Antiquarian's trying to run them both down. Protective is still
if he's
looking
good
for
enough,
room.
and
It's the Wine Steward who's fending him off. Antiquarian now. Protective is loose. It's Antiquarian towards the outside,
and he
Antiquarian
just
is pushed
can't
on by
close
for
the
John
deal. That's the
Velasquez.
third second in a row,
Antiquarian
and it's
wins
basically
the
been the
Peter
same
Pan. The
thing
Wine
each
Steward second,
time. So
Protective, Unique
you
Insight.
do really
Final
have
running
to
time,
wonder
1 minute
if
48
the Wine Steward
and
is
4.
either A, progressed, or whether he's fast enough. So if we take a look at the pace study, we're fortunate in that we have a race from the Wine Steward's 2-year-old campaign right into the Lexington at 3 years old in his debut. And it's fortunate because they're both at Keeneland and both at the same distance. So it gives us a little inkling as to see if there's been some progression from 2 to 3, or we can just see what we can see here. And we'll see in the Breeders' Futurity, has the pretty much the pace progression of a stalker or a horse who runs right off the lead, and that's what the Wine Steward is. And 51.84 is a little light, but it's not bad. Lexington Stakes, you see, he was had to run a little bit more early. The pace was a little quicker, and consequently, his late fraction is a little more diminished. Now, the thing you would note from this right off the bat is an initial hunch that I had about the Wine Steward is that he hasn't grown or he hasn't progressed, and that'll happen with horses from 2 to 3 sometimes. They just don't physically get better. You look here, and I thought after the Lexington, I said, well, you know what? Maybe it is his first start at 3, but maybe it's just he hasn't taken that physical move forward that the other 3-year-olds have. However, once we get to the Peter Pan, you see that he actually ran a better race than he did in the Lexington or the Breeders' Futurity. He had the Stalker's first fraction, but he had a nice middle move at 55.91 and closed with a 52.94 at a longer distance with a higher late fraction than he did at 1 1/16 miles. So that, to me, shows a horse that is definitely progressing. A horse who made a move forward at a longer distance, and that's definitely something that you want to see going into a race like the Belmont. Now, we look at the percentage energy. It's right on cue at 51.36, so for a stalker. So he's moving efficiently. And you look at his projected time, it's right up there with Antiquarian, Mindframe, and some of the other ones that we've covered so far. So from a pace perspective, the Wine Steward shouldn't be overmatched. I mean, he should certainly be competitive in this race. The real question has to be speed. You know, he just seems to not have that little extra to get over the top. And that, when you think about it from there, then you got to wonder if, again, it's a horse who maybe hasn't moved forward. So it's a little bit of a conundrum. It's a little curiosity to me. But he also could be a horse building to his third start off the layoff. All in all, what it tells me is that the Wine Steward is certainly a horse you have to use in your gimmicks, without a doubt. The big question is, of course, whether or not he has that top gear to get the job done. But he certainly seems to be coming into the Belmont in pretty good shape. So we look at issues and concerns. I only have one: speed. Is he fast enough? That's it. Everything else checks out. We know he likes to fight. He likes to compete. He's consistent as hell. He brings his A game every time. I'm just not sure he's got that top gear to get the job done. And that's really the only issue I have with the Wine Steward. But this is a horse I've always liked, and I still like him. I just don't know if I can make him a bona fide win candidate at this point. We'll see what the deep dive brings, but that's the way I see it right now with the Wine Steward.